Once you've optimized your LinkedIn profile, then your next task is to grow your network, because every person that is connected to you at a first level, you can do all sorts of cool things. Most importantly, you can email them, you can message them, you can check them out, you can essentially network with them. So you want to grow your second level connections to get those to become first levels, and you want to grow as many first level connections as you can. So in this video, I'm going to go through kind of how connections work on LinkedIn and how you can work with first or second level connections as you're using LinkedIn for really one of its most important purposes, which is schmoozing as a business network.
Welcome back. We are looking at how to work with connections on LinkedIn. And as you get into this, the most important thing to understand is the distinction between a first level connection and a second level connection. So think of a first level connection as a friend, as a business colleague, as someone that you know his or her name. And a second level connection would be their first level connection. So if I know Julie and she knows Bob, then Julie is my first level connection and Bob is my second level connection. All right, so let's get our bearings around what we're trying to understand. So similar to Facebook, you send a connection request via LinkedIn, and when that person accepts, now you're a first level connection. On Facebook, that's called a friend. On LinkedIn, it's called a first level connection. And similar to Facebook, once you're connected, there are certain functions that are available to both of you as first level connections. And then subsequently, LinkedIn has a special feature where you can use, as it were, your first level connections to reach out to their first level connections. So you can use your first level connections to get to your second level connections. Okay, so let's kind of go through some scenarios and just kind of get the lay of the land. So I'm going to zip over here to LinkedIn where I'm logged in here, and let's just sort of kind of understand this idea of connection. So let's take a keyword. I'll just take the keyword blogging or something. So I'm going to do a search on LinkedIn for blogging. And then over here on the left, I'm going to click on people. And then I'm going to click on first level connections. So I can take a keyword, blogging, WordPress, accounting, whatever, and then I can select my first level connections, and then I can see who am I connected to. And notice here, like for Megan Ward, it tells me that I'm connected to her at a first level. Okay, and then if I click over on her name, okay, so then I can see her and I could click on contact information, which I'm not going to do, sort of respect her privacy there. I can see her connections. I can see her contact information and reach out to her. So I'm directly connected to her. I can send a message, etc. Now that's different from someone with whom I'm a second level connection. So if I click on a second level connection and I can find someone like this Adam DeYoung here and I click on him, then notice how I can't see his contact information, I can't see his email, etc. And on the right hand side, you'll see here, here's who I'm connected to him. So I'm connected to Tim at a first level and Tim's connected to Adam. So essentially I can see through Tim to see his connections. And then I'm going to show you in a second, I can use Tim, so to speak, use this kind of a harsh word. I can work with Tim to reach out to Adam if there's some reason that we have some mutual business or professional interests. Okay, so first of all, just finding people. I have a link to the LinkedIn Connections information page, and it kind of goes through how you can find them. So, you can essentially search for a person, like let's say you know someone named, let's kind of be ironic, John Smith, right? I can do a search for John Smith and I can look for that person, or if it's somebody I know from Tulsa, I can do John Smith Tulsa, and I can see who I know that has the word John Smith and the word Tulsa, and then I can reach out to these people, and here's a John Smith that's a third level connection. But even if he's a third level connection, I can click connect, And then I can say, the best thing to do is, oh, John, remember me? We worked in Tulsa on a petroleum project or whatever. So you can search LinkedIn for somebody that you know, John Smith, and then some additional keyword there, Tulsa or John Smith, who's the WordPress person or whatever. Hopefully find that person, then click on the connect button down here, and then have, explain like, how do I know you, right? So I know you because we did such and such together. And then this John C. in this example would get an email from LinkedIn and say, Jason McDonald is trying to connect with you. And then once he accepts it, we would be a first level connection. So you want to kind of get good at sort of constantly soliciting your first level connections. And I'm going to reiterate this. Let's say you go to a trade show, you go to Tulsa, they have the International Petroleum Exhibition or something like that, and you're schmoozing and you're networking and you're getting business cards and you're going to events, and then you come back. So I'd come back to California, and then I'd get out my business cards and I'd go through them, and I would look people up based on their email, based on the information I have, and I would send out my connection requests while I'm still fresh on their mind, so that I would grow my connections. Because the more connections I have on LinkedIn, the more I can do in terms of networking. Similarly, if you have staff on your business who are your sales staff, your outreach, you want them to constantly be growing those connections, because the more first level connections they have, the more that they can do with them in terms of reaching out to them, and the more first levels they have, the more second levels they can get to. So it's really, that's why I say in the book, schmoozing. So you're schmoozing, you're networking, you're meeting, you're greeting, you're outreaching, etc. And you want to get good at growing that network. In the help file here on LinkedIn, will also tell you how you can actually use your emails and import all of your emails in your address book and reach out to people in that fashion. So there's a lot of things you can do to grow that network. Okay, now let's just sort of talk about, like, once you're connected, what does that mean and what can you do? And let's go through that. All right, so let's go back over here to LinkedIn. Let's actually learn how to spell Jason. Let's go to linkedin.com. And let's just sort of look at a first level connection. Okay, so let's take Gloria, who works with me here at the JM Internet Group. So she is a first level connection. You'll see that there. Now, if you'll see here under contact information, I can scroll down and I can see her contact information there that she's put into LinkedIn. Now, related to that, I can send a message and I can say, working on, LinkedIn, and I can say, hey Gloria, test message via LinkedIn, did you get this? And I can send this message, and that's going to come through LinkedIn to her because we're a first level connection. Some of the other things that I can do, I can tag her here, and I can tag her as a friend, for instance. So I can tag her, and that means she's a friend in the real world. That's sort of how those tags would work. So when they're a first level connection, you can see their contact information, their email, their phone number. You can message them via LinkedIn. So even if you don't want to go and look at that email, you can just message them directly through email, right? You can tag them, which I showed you. Once you tag someone, you can go to My Network, Connections, and then it's going to give you a little bit too much information in the beginning. It's going to tell you everybody's birthday. Oh, by the way, see, you can see their birthdays, and you can just go into your connections of what's going on. I go, oh, look, he's got a new job. And I can see, like, I'm so with it, I can congratulate people on new jobs. Now, down here, filter all contacts by tag. And I can say, well, I want to look at all the people I know from my teaching at Stanford, and I can do it that way. So I don't use this a lot, but if you were really gung-ho about LinkedIn, you could tag your connection. So if you're a sales rep and you really want to really use it as a Rolodex, by tagging your first levels, you can do that. And then you can go down and you can, message. So you can very easily send out kind of a bulk message through your LinkedIn system. So what this is doing here is telling you, once they're first level, what can you do with them in terms of messaging, talking to them, etc. Now, related to that, if you are a first level connection, when they post an update, right? So when somebody posts an update here, right? So when somebody posts an update, it's going to show on my newsfeed. And notice how if I hover here, see how they're first level? So Brian Potra is a connection of mine, and notice how when he posted something, it shows in my newsfeed, right? So that's partially one of your benefits. This is very similar to Facebook, isn't it? So I'm connected to him first level. He makes something, I see it in the newsfeed. That's a benefit there. All right, now let's talk about second level connections just really briefly. So a second level connection is the first level connection of your first levels. How do you use this? So let's go here and let's imagine I'm going to proteomics world or something. So proteomics is sort of a smarty pants scientific thing. And let's imagine a scenario that I'm working in proteomics and I'm going to go to proteomics world. So I'm going to put proteomics, second level connections, and then I can go down here and click Boston. So now I'm able to see everyone in Boston. I'm hoping a second. Let's not do Boston because I don't know any seconds. Let's do anyone. So let's go here and let's click second levels. So now I've put in proteomics, I've searched for my second levels, and I can click on Boston. See, I have any seconds in Boston? I do. Okay, so let's assume that I'm the sales rep in the proteomics industry, and we're going to go to Proteomics World in Boston, and we're going to have an event. And Cindy Smith is out there in Boston, and so is Sriram. Oh boy, that's a toughie. Sathyanarayan is also out there, and John Denor is out there as well. And I want to invite them to our wine and cheese event. So what I can do then is I can click on Cindy's profile, and I can see over here on the right-hand side that I'm connected to Stanislav Grofsky, and I can click Ask for an Introduction. And I can say, hey, Stanislav, can you introduce me to Cindy? We're going to have this wine and cheese event, and I'd like to invite her. So I have a reason why I'm inviting her. We're having a wine and cheese event at something very relevant for her industry, proteomics world, and I'm going to use, quote unquote, my first level connection, Stanislav, to ask him to introduce me to her. So a second level connection is a very special sort of relationship. So your process is, you go to LinkedIn, you search for your keyword that's in your industry, you filter that by people, second level, and you can even filter it down to say a location, and then you click over to those people that you're second levels. On the right hand side, you click for an introduction. So Alex knows Iona, and I can ask for a connection there. So that's another really useful feature, is to use your firsts to get to your seconds. And again, in a very judicious, responsible, not spammy kind of way. But this is why LinkedIn is so fantastic. It's the ultimate business-to-business Rolodex. It's just beyond your wildest dreams in terms of ability to schmooze and find people out there. So that's your second level connection scenario. Finally, let's talk just for a second about recommendations and endorsements. So inside of LinkedIn, let's go over here to LinkedIn. I want to show you also, when you're inside of LinkedIn, here's your messages, and you can see here's messages that are coming in, and here's connection requests. So if I click on my connection requests, and I can accept that request if I know these people, etc. So that's how you can kind of monitor what's going on. I generally accept everyone. I generally want to be pretty open. And then if someone starts spamming me, then I just deconnect with that person. That's my strategy. I'm very open in terms of who I connect with. And for most of us, that would be the most logical connection strategy. If you want to get fancy, what I would recommend then is tag your connections, like people in the real world, people that I would do a favor for, etc. So you can use your tags to sort of sort out what your connections are. You can also, once you make a connection on somebody, you can make a note on a connection. So for instance, this guy, Rob Saeed, is a good friend of mine, and I can write a note in here that Rob's really awesome and he's a good friend, or I used to work with him at Sutter Health, for instance. So you can tag and put notes in there on your first levels as well. All right, let's talk for a second about recommendations, right? So in your profile, people who recommend you, like here's Rob, he's recommended me, I've recommended him, that shows up here, and you get to be in control of do those show on your profile. So it's really worth it to proactively go and recommend and endorse people in your network. And I have the links here as well. You can directly go to your recommendations page here, and you can see, so Adam, I haven't gotten around to that yet. I need to write a recommendation for him. He took my class in Stanford. Or I can search for a person that I know, and I can write a recommendation in this way. So if I proactively endorse Rob, it's likely that he'll come back and endorse or recommend me. So it's really important to do that. Also, as you're going through your network, right, as you're going through your network, you can endorse people, and that's a little bit easier. So you can endorse someone. So let's endorse someone. So you can go down into their endorsements, and you're able to see their endorsements, and you can endorse them as well. So I can endorse them as well. So that's another feature there. So as you're looking at your recommendations and endorsements, you can search for people, you can recommend them, and you can endorse them, and I have the links there. All right, so let's wrap this up really quickly. So you're going to find and grow your connections, first levels. You can do all these fabulous things with those first levels, especially message them, especially they see updates, etc. Second level connections, you can use your first to get to your seconds and try to get them to upgrade, as it were, to be first. And then you want to constantly be looking for excuses. A real common scenario is the trade show. I come back from the trade show, I'm going to try to connect to everyone I just met. Anytime I teach a class like at Stanford, I try to email people, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn, to maintain those connections over time, right? So one touch to many, state type of mind. And you want to do this not just for yourself, but everyone on your team. Really, really great for a business-to-business company. And then you want to give and get recommendations and endorsements. This is sort of kind of part of schmoozing, how we look cool and awesome. So all of the materials are in the YouTube description. So please take a look at those. And if you have any questions about LinkedIn or other aspects of your social media marketing, just leave a message in YouTube or send me an email, and I'm happy to help you.